we are going to make a password form that looks like this. And it will kick in when we open this file, and if we don't know the password, which we can hide, then it will throw us out. We will also use this form for two macros, one that protects all the sheets and one that unprotects them, and you need to know the password in order to do that. So we need Visual Basic for this. How do we make that form? Alt F11 takes us to the VBA screen. Then you want to make a form like this. So you insert a user form. And on the user form you probably want a label and a text box. And the rest we are going to do in VBA Code. Notice these two buttons. So you can switch between the code view and the form view. If you want to rename this form, otherwise it's called user form 1, you need the properties window, and there you can rename the form, you can even rename the label, and you can rename the text box. I did all of that already, so I'm going to do this in code for the user form password. I made these two boxes there. We go to the code, and here is the code. We declare a variable of the Boolean type in a module. I will show you that later, because I want to use that variable in this workbook, in the sheets, in the modules, and in the user form. Then we are going to say if the user form activates. How do we get that? We go to here and we choose the user form, and then choose the event activate. And because I called this form and renamed it USF password .caption security checked, then I named the label LBL password caption. Then important that for the text box you use the property password character equals double quote asterisk double quote or whatever symbol you want to use. I put, just for this occasion, also the password in there. You don't really want to do that in real life, of course. Then we also want to use the text passwords key up event. So you go here and you look for the text password and then the key up event. Why do you want to use that? Because if the user hits enter, then we are going to close that form. So we use the key code one. If the key code from key up equals VB key return, then unload the user form. We also want to make sure that no one can close the user form by hitting the X button. So we use the user form query close event. User form query close. That has two arguments, cancel and close mode. If the close mode is something from the form control menu, then cancel the query close. Cancel equals true. And finally, when the user form gets closed or unloaded or whatever, then we want to check the password. If the text password text, I use the lowercase function for it, in case someone types by mistake capitalized secret. If it's secret, then we set bValid, which is originally false, to true, otherwise we set it to false. So where do we declare that bValid? We do that in a module. So you have to insert a module. And there is the declaration publicly of bValid as Boolean. And I happened to create two macros, protect all sheets and unprotect all sheets, and you can only unprotect them if you know the password. So how do you protect all the sheets? Very quickly, you declare a variable of the worksheet type, and then for each OWS in the collection of worksheets, protect OWS by using a certain password. I happen to use secret, but anything you want. And then it has many more arguments. And you probably want to make sure that all the other arguments are set to true. So why do you want to do this one? User interface only. That means you can still run macros, but you cannot do anything on the sheet by changing contents and formats, etc. So, and then we tell the user with a simple message box, all sheets are protected now. If they want to unprotect them, I did that with Ctrl-Shift-U, then we are going to declare again a worksheet variable, and we are going to ask through that user form what your password is. So I run that form with the show method, but make sure you make it VB Modal. So space VB Modal. That means that you cannot click on the sheet unless you have dealt with that user form. Otherwise you can switch back and forth, but that would take the whole trick away. If bvalid is true, then we are going to unprotect the sheets. So we run through all the worksheets with a for each loop, and we unprotect it, and that password is not up to you. It has to be exactly the same as that one, for that's how you protected it. But if this one is anything else, that one should be that same password. And then we go through next OWS, all are unprotected. So we checked first that bvalid has been set to true through the password form. If it's not set to true, then we say it's the wrong password. So we can run this with either in this workbook, and I'm doing that there. So when this workbook opens, so you go up here, workbook, open event, call that user form, show it, of course in the VB Modal thing. If bvalid is still false, if it has not been set to true, then you either shut down Excel completely, but that means that the user cannot even use other files that you do not want to protect, or you say this workbook.close and false for saving it. So that is up to you. I just closed the whole Excel down. You probably think, yeah, but if I am smart, I can always go to the VBA code and find everything out right there. No, because you can hide your VBA code. How do you do that? You go to the Tools menu, and then the Properties menu of that project that you are working in, and go to the Protection tab, and lock the project for viewing, and then you type another password probably. But that one you should never forget, for if you forget that one, you can never get back into the VBA code and change it or check it. I'm going to cancel this. I don't want that to happen. So we are going back to Excel now. So, and I also implemented two shortcuts. How do you do that? You have to make sure that you have the Developers tab. If you don't have the Developers tab, you have to go to File, Options, Customize the ribbon, and you want to make sure that the Developers section is turned on. Only if you have that menu, then you can go to Macros and click on the first one, Protect All Sheets, Options, and type Shift P, for instance. The Control key automatically kicks in, and you do something similar for unprotected sheets. I set that to Shift U, and it automatically uses the Control key. So now, if I do here Control Shift P, it will automatically protect all the sheets. If you don't believe me, if I try to type anything in there, it will tell me I cannot do that, but you can still run your macros. Now Control Shift U, unprotect the sheets. I have to type the password. I did that already, as I showed you, which is not a good thing to do. I cannot close the thing from here. I cannot go to the sheet. I have to deal with this thing and press enter. That was a key event. and it says now they are all unprotected. So if I ever want to change something in there, then I can do that right there, and it will automatically do that. I'm going to undo that, etc. So now if I close Excel, save the changes, then it will automatically kick in. If I make a mistake, then it will just throw me out. It still says save or don't save, that is up. If I do it right, it will let me in.